welcome, and we thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to seeing your presentation.
Thank you. Hello, Tony, G1RBO. I've had 17 and a half years in IT, so it helps a great deal if you've got some IT skills for this DMR. Setting up these things is hard. I couldn't do it. 17 years in IT, ended up a network manager of a £500 million company. I could fix anything, I couldn't fix that thing. It drove me quite. But there is a particular way of setting them up. Once you learn it, it's a piece of cake after that. It's just like everything else, drives you mental to start with, but then it's great. So let's get this here that you're looking at. What you're looking at is the web server that's coming off of this tiny little thing here, which is my little mobile hotspot. There's some pictures in here with it in its nice little blue case, and this is the little screen. Programming that was an interesting learning curve as well.
A brief IT question.
Yeah.
Is it possible to have that a bit bigger on the screen?
To have it bigger?
Fill the screen rather than...
no. It's kind of as it is.
S11 wouldn't help for it.
It's the limitations of what we got, because
is that TriStar 3B, is it?
No, this is a Raspberry Pi number 1, and the modem on top is a Zumspot version 0.4. Bless it. It don't even get a 1. It's really, really very early stuff, very early on, but it absolutely does the job for the radio. There's no delays, and it works great. But this one, that's a Raspberry Pi 5, the latest one, with a heatsink and a fan, and it's got a little modem on top, but it's got the Pi-Star software in it, and this is going to end up as my telephone exchange, my all-star telephone network. So, let's make a start, shall we? Right, yeah, that's the limitations of what we've got with the actual software, because basically, what you're running is fairly one thing only. There we go. Woohoo! You have to forgive me because I've only just started looking at this again this morning, and then I've had a change around of it to make it a bit smaller. So I take it you can all read because I'm dyslexic. So as you can see, it. What DMR adds to amateur radio. Some people argue saying it don't, it's crap and it's not real radio, and it's, well, you're using the internet. You don't have to use the internet. No one's forcing you to. You can use it as a RF to RF radio. That's not me. That's you can use it as DMR. So the things that are essential, well, one thing is obviously you need a hand license to transmit on frequencies you're going to be using. The other thing is it's what they call a DMR ID. Hello, sir. And this is the one bit that I like about DMR that we all moan about RF. I could sit outside your house in my car and I could cause such a nuisance to you, you wouldn't know who I am. You wouldn't be able to use your radio, you can't do anything. I'll just key up on all the frequencies and screw you up. You can't do that with DMR. Every time I transmit, let me see if I can pull this up. You'll see this here. That shows up. My call sign shows up. I'm transmitting now. G1RBO. Anyone got their ears on? Why can I say that on ham radio? Because this is my talk group. I have my own talk group set up on TGIF, and we have a very huge, people that are members of that talk group, and we use it as our chat. And you don't have to be, saying your call sign every 5 seconds and being a bit sort of religious with it. Everybody knows who everybody is. But as soon as you transmit, your call sign goes out. That goes out to everybody in the world who happens to be on the same talk group that you're on. I control this one, and there's only the people that I let on it. So it's really kind of handy to stop people mucking about. And you need a radio and a code plug. Code plugs, yes. Anyone getting into ham radio, the word code plug will drive you mad. Building one will drive you insane. But like everything in life, once you get it, and it's easy. I would say, anybody good at Excel? Really good at Excel?
Yeah, reasonable.
Because DMR Excel go to bed together. You'll see there's a bit of software to program the radios, but with the Anytones, they've got a really nice piece of software that you can export all the settings, your contacts, your talk groups, your zones, all in a CSV file. And of course, once you've got a CSV file, you've got to change the frequency of 100 talk groups. With a CSV file, it's so much simpler, just put it in one, drag it down, and done. And then you import that back in, it's all set up. So CSV file.
Tony, CSE?
CSV.
CSV, concept-separated variable.
Yeah.
Okay.
CSV files. DMR is just full of CSV. You've got me doing it. CVS files. Because it's just the way that they've designed the radios to allow you to do that, and it's like, it makes life so much easier when you get round to it. The other thing to start, repeater, hotspot, and the internet. Now, this is interesting because you can obviously use a DMR repeater. GB7PX is a DMR repeater next to him. Hotspot, you can have your own little hotspot indoors, connected to the internet, and you talk to everybody via your internet. To the internet thing. This bit here, the internet, is the bit that everybody's sort of like, it's not real radio, it's more phone. How many telephone numbers have you got in your contacts? I found out today I've got 720 contacts in my mobile phone list. There is 33,500 and some odd contacts that have got DMR. You can talk to every single one of them if they're on the same talk group as you will. So it's not quite like using your phone, it's a little bit different. And choosing the network that you want to be on. There's several to choose from. There's 3 major ones, which we'll look at in a bit. And I'll talk to you about programming the old radio that I had. Contacts, talk groups, and channels. And what happens when a local station talks worldwide? Yeah, what happens? You can. I can stand here with this, talk to somebody that's in their car in Australia, and he could travel the whole length of Australia, and I can still talk to him. He won't drop. As long as he's got an internet signal, I can keep talking to him. Think of DMR as a complete utter convenience of a communication network. I'm sitting there in the shack, I'm fiddling with antennas and RF and trying to talk to somebody on the RF and their interference, and but someone just calls me up and we have a conversation, you know, chat. We can chat as we're doing RF, which we've done before. Me and my mates, we've been experimenting with 2 meters and 77 simplex between each other, but we say, no, I can't quite hear, and we're talking over this. It's convenience. There's a little convenience chat room, you know, you can sit. And if you can't get an antenna up in your garden, how are you going to operate? You might get away with a white stick in your garden, on your house. Most places you get away with a white stick, can't you? But that's about it. So you kind of, you know, this 1,000 watt we can use, yeah, that's gone out the window since they built up these horse shoeboxes with shoebox garden. That's it. Anyway, right, here we go. DMR gives amateur radios a digital vocal file, which is kind of exactly what it does, and it's quite clever because you get 2 slots per channel, per frequency, which is quite cool. So you can, you know, you've got one frequency, so you've got 2 channels on the one frequency because we're talking digital here now. So you've got then they're called time slots. So you get 1 and 2. Yeah, for amateurs, the attraction is clear audio worldwide linking. That's pretty much clear audio. Kind of depends on the radio. Really, some radios are rubbish. What radios are rubbish? Icon, believe it or not, an Icon handheld against the Chinese, crap, utter crap. Yeah, I've heard people go, oh yeah, £600 handheld. Fucking sounds awful. For some reason I haven't cracked the audio on DMR. But that other radio that I had, I'll show you, it'll come up as a picture. I mean, that thing was about, that's under 100 quid, and the audio on that is like, everybody said, you know, one thing they commented on was the audio is really good on it. Who knows why, you know, why one's good than the other. But there are several types of digital radio. The Asian Fusion, quite popular, but then you've got to buy yourself a Yaesu that works on Fusion.
Sorry?
But then you've got to buy a Yaesu that works on Fusion.
Yep. Runs on one of them hotspots.
Yeah, it runs on one of those hotspots. But I can't do Yaesu Fusion because I haven't got a radio that does.
Oh no.
So you've got to buy a particular type of radio to make that work.
Or you run through a hotspot.
Yeah. So
you can go on your DMR and come out on Fusion.
Yeah. You can. You with DMR, you can link into any of these through a what's it called now? Jesus, you're testing me now. Gateway. It's called a gateway. All these services that you connect to, they have a talk group that actually gets you into these. They don't work too well, but anyway, what have we got here? Yeah, transfer in, apply for a DMR radio license. Yeah, this is pretty much what we covered already anyway. More quickly. Yeah, get the DMR ID, radioid.net. Go onto there, ask them, give them your call sign. You need proof, like your license. So send them a PDF of your license, and within a week you'll get a license. You'll get a number, and that's your DMR ID. And you can't get out without it, because that DMR ID is everything to do with you. So, because digital don't talk in letters, it talks in numbers. Right, let's put this was on. So, Repeats and hotspots, yeah. So basically, RF is involved, which is kind of comforting. So, how does it all kind of work, I suppose, is what it's saying. So, this little hotspot here, it has a Raspberry Pi board on the bottom, and then it has a, I commonly call it a modem, and it's a little device that converts the radio signal into here, converts the voice, sends it over the internet. Quite clever little thing. It runs, there's a couple of bits of software that runs on. One is the one that you saw there, the red one, it's the Pi-Star. The other one is WPD something or other. But that would only work really on things like the Raspberry Pi 3 and above, I recommend. And it kind of depends on what memory size you've got in them, because the newer software won't run on that. I found that out myself the hard way. Yeah. Right, okay. So, talk groups. What's a talk group? The easiest way to describe a talk group is a channel, a frequency channel, a channel. And you get it, if you think of it as a channel, then you can't go wrong with it. It's slightly different because if I'm on talk group 840, which is the talk group on the Phoenix service, and it's East Anglian network, so everyone, technically speaking, it's for everybody in East Anglia to use the 840 network. But that doesn't stop anybody from anywhere in the world connecting to the server, connecting up to 840 and talking anyway. So if you're on that talk group, if you're in that talk group and you're connected to that talk group, everybody that's connected to the talk group can hear you anywhere in the world. So it's kind of, that's how it is. But there's loads of different talk groups for loads of different reasons, which will, you know, so it's kind of a talk group, think of it as a channel. Now we got here the three major services, networks that you've got. Brandmeister typically is what America mainly uses and the rest of the world kind of uses. You'll find most people have got Brandmeister, and if they're American they probably only have Brandmeister. Then you've got the Phoenix DVS-PH server. There's a number of servers for different things, quite complicated. But basically the Phoenix service, that's where you get talk group 840 for the UK. This is, the way I describe it to people is basically the world in America, the UK and individual talk groups and the world. My talk group is with these guys. They're fairly new on the block, but they're certainly picking up. And what are these? What are these? What are they? They're basically a server that runs a piece of software where it allows you access into their network and allows you to use these talk groups and transmits it out to the rest of the world. So everybody, you've got to be connected to their network. So it's like an office block with loads of computers. If you're inside the network, you can talk to one another. If you're outside the network, you need something to get in. So it's kind of, think of it like that. And these are the three major ones that I use and most people will use for that.
Can I ask a question? Your talk groups, are they almost like a bit exclusive to what you set up, or that group? Unlike, for instance, we go on the air and you can give a QSO CQ calls outside, and somebody you don't know of may respond back to you from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Does that happen when you talk groups, or is that...
Sorry, hang on. Sorry. Go away. It's my sister. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. Sorry. Go away. Yeah. So it's an exclusive. The service or the server or the network, as we call it, the network, Brandmeister network, is a nest of servers that supports whoever wants to connect to it, and then it sends you through it. So if you want to talk to somebody, let's say you want to make a call out on DMR and you want to do it worldwide. So the best one to do that on is Talk Group 91 on Brandmeister.
Right.
Talk Group 91 is a CQ call talk group. And what you do on DMR is slightly different than you do on RF, because you have a talk group for calling. So Talk Group 91 on DMR is one that you shout out to. And then when somebody comes back, you can move to one of the chat talk groups, rooms, as they're called.
Oh, okay.
So you'd move to talk group, room 1, talk group 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, there's about 7 or 8 different rooms, and you keep going until you find one you talk to. So, but you don't talk on a calling frequency,
Right, yeah.
on a calling talk group. Some arsehole will moan at you. Somebody will moan at you for doing it. Even though you sat there for a whole 4 hours and no one's called down there, you call on it and you have a conversation on it, and someone will come up and say, do you mind getting off the talk? Well, no one's talked on it for 4 hours. So, yeah, let's move on. Right, Brandmeister, yeah. So, yeah, we kind of covered all this, haven't we, really? I mean, Brandmeister is probably, I think it's probably the first one. That's why everybody's sort of on it. But a lot of Americans use it, yeah.
How do you access these servers then, like the Brandmeister or the Phoenix one?
I can't.
Oh, okay.
So Phoenix is, I've pretty much covered this already. So yeah, Phoenix is pretty much, yeah, we kind of use it as we kind of say it's a UK kind of talk group server for talk groups. Did I just miss one? Yeah, TGIF. That's a new boy on the block. So it allows you to do a little bit more niceties with it. So I've got a couple of talk groups with them. I've got this one here, which is called SWR Club. And I've got one for lost veterans. So it's an organisation I'm a part of. Any veteran that goes missing, we have a worldwide communications on the talk group.
If two people talk at the same time in a talk group, how is the collision handled?
Badly.
Okay.
That's just the physics of it. Now, if you're both on the same, because you've got 2 time slots, you've got 2 time slots on one talk group, so you can be on time. If you're on time slot 1 and on the same talk group, and I'm on time slot 2, we can talk.
Yeah.
Because we're missing each other, just about missing each other. But
So you don't hear each other?
No. So that's it. You've got two talk groups per 2 channels per talk group sort of thing, so you've got 2 time slots. It's not easy to explain that in a quickie sort of introduction, but yeah, if it's still a one-way conversation, unless you don't want it to be. Because my hotspot is a 3, but I've got a different little modem on top, and it's got 2 antennas. Because you've got 2 meters and 70 cents. Now I've got 4 time slots, and I've got 2 meters and 70 cents to play with. So now I can do split frequency. So I can send on one and receive on another. And so yeah, we could technically, if you've got 2 radios, because one would be set for the listening, and one you could. Why you'd want to do that, who knows? But yeah, so you can have a hotspot where you send on 2, receive on 70, or send on 70 and receive on 2, depending on how you want to set it up. Why the hell you'd want to do that, I don't know, because it doesn't benefit you at all. And it doesn't make a bit of difference, and it doesn't speed things up. So yeah, time slots. Time slots, they're quite difficult to get your head around until you start poking into this stuff. So, and as this is just an introductory, I don't want to sort of go too deep, but basically, this is now digital. So when it's digital, you can do a lot more fancy things to it with it than you could before. So. Yeah, there you go. Wire hotspot, basically. You will, anybody who sort of, I know people that are sort of like, don't really think it's real radio and deep into it, they buy a radio and then they'll use a local DMR repeater and then turn around and say, you know, DMR's rubbish. We've got a few problems here, which is lack of understanding of what's what. Yeah, you've got repeaters, but the repeater is not much more than one of these. It's only got one internet connection to it, and you are at the mercy of that internet connection. So if there's 5 people using that repeater, using 5 different talk groups, talking over the same internet line with 5 different voice calls going on, plus the repeaters connected to another network via All-Star, all of a sudden that internet connection is really dodgy. And I've talked on quite a lot of DMR repeaters, and most of them are rubbish. Most of them, the audio is really, really crap, and you can't really use them with ease. They're always a bit clunkified, I find. Having a hotspot indoors, it's yours. You're the only one using it. You're the only one using the internet you have. But you know, the wife indoors downloading or watching film. Our TV is a Sky Pup, so all the TV comes through the internet, and it doesn't affect me in any way, shape or form. And because of the compression on these things over the internet, they don't use a lot of data either. They're not data hungry. So running off your mobile phone is not the end of the world. Yeah. That there, you'll see, if you delve into DMR, you'll see that there. That's quite a common-based hotspot. Hotspot! You look on eBay, that's what you'll see. That's where that comes from. Picture of that's what you're being sold for about 50, 60 quid now. I think they're getting cheaper. They were quite expensive, but be cautious. The cheaper it is, the older it is. The older it is, don't put the latest software on it. It will sort of run, and then all of a sudden it'll crash. And you'll be going, well, he said it was easy. No. Dig out, fight, if you look on PyStar, which is the website, I'll bring it up on the computer, you can find an older version and put older versions on these ones. That's what I've got on there, a fairly older version. And it runs perfect. What's the advantages of having a new one? None. That there is generations behind this latest one here, all singing, all dancing, pucker. When you're using it, you won't notice a difference. There's no difference between those when you're using it. There's no delay, there's no lag, there's nothing. You wouldn't even know the difference what you're using between those. So these are going quite cheap, and they're a great start, and they're a great little thing. It's got a nice little box with it, you know, and the more you make it fancy, the harder you'll find to get boxes for them. And this is kind of what it looks like inside. There's your modem. It has a little screen on, similar to that, but it's a little tiny one. And then underneath is your Raspberry Pi. There's your monitor, keyboard, power. So you can actually see, if you put a monitor in, there's a mini HDMI, if you put a monitor into it and boot it up, you can actually see the PyStar, the Linux, they run on Linux, it's all on Linux code, and you can see it, and if you're good at Linux, you'll be quite comfortable sitting in there on the shelf, programming it, that way, choose to. Back there, that's my screen. This is how mine came originally. I took it out so people can see it really. But this is a printed box with a screen, and that sits inside it, a little aerial coming up with a wire. Quite cool. What else? Whoa! When you transmit, that's what you see. Now, I'll quickly touch on it. The design of the screen is quite clever, because this bit here doesn't actually change, it's not active. It's quite clever how it works. So when you transmit, it changes the screen, and it makes this go all the way. It's a picture. It's a picture that you program onto the screen itself. The only bit that's live is this little bit down the bottom here. Yeah, that little bit on the... Yeah. And that there shows you the IP address of what it's connected to. But that only works when you've actually chosen the correct type of screen that this is connected to there. Which is an arse, because when you build it, you're looking at the screen to see if it's on the network, and it just stays blank, and it's initialising forever. And you go, what's the matter? What's the matter? This, however, has just done exactly what you've asked it to do, and connected to the internet and connected to the network absolutely fine. And you just... So, recommendation if you're going to get into this, get a little app. Email me, I found one, little app that scans your network on your laptop. So if that's connected to the same network as your laptop, it will scan it and it will show it up as PyStar. You right mouse click on it, open the web page, and it opens it up for you. Hey ho, you found it. Even I do that. And this is the radio, the RT3S. This is my first DMR radio, and you can see the screen is a little bit different than this one. A little bit different than this one. This one here will show up your call sign, your ID number, your location, and if I choose to turn it on GPS, this has got GPS on it, so it shows you your location of where you're transmitting from, and it's quite, because now we're talking digital, like I said, we get into fun things. It's really, it's quite interesting. And then, the interesting part, that's the dashboard. Code plugs. Code plugs. You'll see, if you go on Facebook, you'll see a lot of, there's a lot of Facebook groups of just DMR code plugs. and people sharing code plugs. And to be honest, it's only useful for you if you're really into that sort of stuff. The reality of it all is you'll have your nearest DMR repeaters set up on the radio. You'll have that's a 2 metre and 77s as well, so that's got PI in it and all the local repeaters that I can get on it, and it has a number of talk groups in it that I choose and use. But you can get a talk group, a code plug from any tone that has everything in it. Now just think of clicking through everything for a second. Your knob is not going to last that long. It really isn't. So you know, at the end of the day, you actually have what's set up. It's like your own radio at home. You have all the frequencies. You have the frequencies that you use for the nets, and that's about all you have, because they're the ones you use all the time. So that's what you do with that. So code plugs are what is a code plug? That's a typical. This is part of this. This is the software CSV, CPS. Code plug software, and here you've got a number of options that you configure. You have your digital contacts, you have your DMR repeaters, and in here, that's the receiver. Let's go zones. You have a number of zones. What is a zone? The zone is where you, on your radio, you can choose the zone that you've set up to hotspot. So everything that's in that hotspot zone is all DMR talk groups. Everything in DMR repeaters, guess what's inside there? All DMR repeaters, all analog repeaters, all PMR, radio, because I was doing radio at the time. So this is my hotspot zone, and this is channel A, channel B, and the available channels. And basically, you put in to your zone what you want, what you've got set up. And you can see this is GB7PY2. So that's GB7PY, talk group 2. So I can talk to the same repeater on different talk groups. And then there's PI and PX, channel 9. So this software's okay, but when you get to the software for that, they actually get better.
Just to go off that one, your digital contacts, are those then all of those numbers
Contacts.
that you had?
Yeah, contacts.
Your DMR ID.
Let me have a look. I think I've got channels. No. There we are. Contacts. Right. In your contact box here, you'll notice this here is the number of the talk group. So this is talk group 80.
Right.
Yeah? Talk group 81. This is the name that's displayed on the screen. This is what happens behind the scenes for the radio to communicate with. So, yeah, so basically I'm setting up a channel now. So, and channel information is actually the talk group, and it actually tells the radio exactly what you want it to do for that talk group. You want it to be using you're setting up a digital talk group, not an analog. what bandwidth you're using, a scan list. We don't generally scan, I don't. Stroke setting, the RF's in. This one here, TOT, time to talk, or I can't remember what TOT stands for. But basically what it does is it's your default time that it will hold your PTT until it decides it cuts it off. So you can't talk too long. But if you're like us, in our group, we always set that to infinity or the highest number possible, because you always talk too long and it cuts the radio off. Here's the display name. These two are the same, because these two are the frequency that is set up to talk to. So it allows your radio to talk to your hotspot, and then here you'll say, and this bit here is you say what contact you're using you want to use for this. Now this is the weird thing about this, is because you can have your radio on showing talk group 840, but if you set this up wrong on talk group 81, you're actually talking on 81, because you just told all this to use this contact. That's it. So we'll make sure that before you click save and move on, make sure these two things are the same. Hard lesson, trust me. And I've done it, and I've been one out in the list, and I've done the whole radio, and then when I find out the whole list and I'm one out. So the one before that, I said this thing. So it's kind of, you know. And that's another one. But as you see, that's the display name. All these are pretty much the same. Now I'm using GB7PY. So now these are the repeater settings, as in receive and transmit the PY. But I'm displaying the 840 because I want it. There you go. There's my exact reason. Look. What's that say? It's 9. So whenever I press on that, I'm transmitting on talk group 9. So easy to do, and it's kind of one of those things that you need to be patient with and take your time and make sure you get it right. There you go. I fixed that. That's why. There's you. So we're getting to the summing up, and you'll be glad to know I'm finishing soon. So basically, this is kind of a visual of how it kind of all works and how you can have it all set up. So you could be sitting at home with your radio connected to your hotspot, connected to the internet. That could be then connected to a talk group. That could be then sent out through the internet. This repeater is sending it out to this guy that's in his car. The interesting thing about that is that here is the world, so it can be anywhere. Because if you're set up on that talk group that this guy's set up on, and he's actually set up to talk through this repeater, you both can talk to one another. Because it's digital. So it's kind of convenient, it's kind of cool. So if you've got, like I have, Gavin and what's he? M0YFN, he's all over the place because of his job, all over the UK, and he's actually set up a really decent setup in his car with a proper hot router with a SIM in it, and antennas going onto the top of his car and everything, and he can talk, and he uses All-Star nodes, and he connects directly into my talk group through All-Star. That's a kind of different thing altogether. That's kind of good. Yeah. He's on my group, Bobby, down in the Footprints. I got him onto DMR. We set him up remotely, and we have a conversation, and it's kind of cool. And of course you don't have to, you can take the internet out altogether. This is when people say, oh, it's not real radio. This is. You don't need the internet, you don't want the internet, but it's still radio, but it's digital. And you can do lots of interesting things with it as well now. So, and of course one thing you can't do legally you can't do it, is scramble your signal. You can't do that legally. Mustn't do that. So there's a number of ways it works, and it's becoming popular because you just got your hand out. You can get, I mean, obviously now mobiles are coming with DMR on them. I've got an old RT90. What is it? Is it this? I think it's what I can't remember. One or t'other. And that's DMR 2 meters 77s, 50 watts max. So you can be mobile. And that's, you know, and you can still, as long as you don't leave the if you're using one of these, a repeater, then, you know, as long as you're within range of that, you can talk to your heart's content. If you're, if, you know, I can leave that on, running, get in my car, and as long as I've got internet access, I can talk to it all the way home. Convenience people. DMR is, and I sell it, and I always have sold it, as it's a way of communication, but it's the convenience of, you could all be set up on DMR, you could have your nets and everything else, but what it becomes, and then you could apply to TGIF to have your own top room, and you could all have a little radio sitting in the shack, and if somebody wants to talk and you want some help or something, you just pick that up and talk to rather than phone them. The thing about it, of course, is that when you do that, everybody else can hear. So whoever's on at the time can hear it and join in the conversation. The next thing you know, it's gone 4 o'clock in the morning, and your wife walks into the shack and goes, "What you do?" I've been there, done that. Haven't we all? At some point. But you'll be glad to know that is the end of the introduction to DMR. So you all got to go out and you all got to buy a DMR radio and a DMR hotspot, and I expect it to be all up and running. And yeah, seriously, if you need some help, and you will, you will. And if you don't, you're going to lose more hair, you're going to be in a really stressful state, and you might get it working if you're lucky.
Who owns all these servers? Does Donald Trump own the Ballymeister?
Who? What?
Owns all these servers?
It's a group of hands.
Oh, you need to register?
You donate, you can donate to them, help them out, but they obviously they have a website and stuff, and obviously they sell a bit of advertising when you log on. You get a bit of an advert and stuff like that. But it's yeah, it's just hands. This is all done by radio hands. The software, that's open source and it's free, and you can use it free and all the rest of it. Although to learn it, it does take a bit. It does take a bit, yeah.
I before DMR, and I noticed that when you receive a call, you receive their call sign and their name.
Yeah.
But not all the time. Some there were, it was just the frequency, and that was it.
Yeah, I know. It's a
Is
pain.
there a list you can download? Is it?
Yeah. There's a contact list, and you get it from DMR.
Radio ID.
Radio ID, that's it, yeah. RadioID.net, you can download it from there. Some people go on somewhere else and get it for free. I pay me $14, £9.23 per year, and I download it, and then you can choose what radio you've got, and it'll download it in a CSV file that fits your radio, so you can then import it. The last one I did is 33,500 and something IDs now, yes.
Okay, you're talking about this CSV file. You download that to a
Computer.
to a PC. Right, those screenshots you've got of the contact management in the hotspot, that's a PC screenshot.
Yeah.
So there's quite a bit of PC support behind all this.
Yeah, like I said, there'll be a good IT, for this. So you've got to be a bit comfortable with computers and running bits of software.
Okay.
To go back to answer your question, why sometimes you just get a number and then other people will come up with their code sign. They're probably just joined, okay? And your hotspot downloads that contacts list when you update it. Now, this is where it gets a little bit on the tricky, where you need to be in the know, because you'll see a warning sign that says when you load my software on your hotspot, it will say there's a new version, download it. And you do that and you go, Tane, I just downloaded it, it's not working. And I go, you idiot, I told you not to do that. Because there's another option on the dashboard, which I can show you, can't I? Because I'm a genius and I've got it here running. Oh, jeez.
DMR. On like 2 meters.
270.
So,
Of a specific frequency.
now you see there,
Yeah, different talk calls.
there's an update. And that update updates the file on here that displays their call sign and their ID. So the hotspot updates the contact itself. It generally does it itself, but it's always behind, because more and more people are getting into DMR quite quickly. So every now and again, I press update, and it updates that file with everybody's contacts on the hotspot. But if I was to go, is it showing me now? No, it's not showing me. Normally it shows you a warning sign at the top that there's a new version, download it. So basically, quite quickly we can run through this. These are all the kind of settings that you get in the brains of the thing. This here is the screen, what screen you've got on it. So you have to choose that. This here tells you the name of that. It's 2 because I've got one at home. My call sign, my ID, and the frequency that I've set the modem radio to on the hotspot for the radio to use. So that's the frequency I have to set on the code plugs. And your location. Locations here. This bit here, this is the bit that gets people as well. This bit here, that's the actual model of the modem that's sitting on top of it. And if you don't get that right, it won't work either. You see, so what I mean, I've got falling over all this stuff. And it's like, it's a nightmare until you get to know it. And you just can't work out why it's not working. And then you've got the network. So this is the Brandmeister network. This is the Phoenix network. And then you put 2 in it because it's number 2. So you can have as many hotspots as you like indoors, but you do have to say 1, 2 or 3. So when you see it, when it connects to Brandmeister, it knows it's not the same one, because it's your DMR ID 01020. It'll be your DMR ID is the first one with no 1 behind it, and then it'll go 1, 2, 3, because it's digital. Now you'll notice that there's no TGIF here, no TGIF showing at all in here, because unfortunately it lives in here. Now this is where I do a lot of my work, because I've kind of got the hang of it. And this is the TGIF network. So what I've done for people is that I say to them, download the software, load it up, copy and paste this into here. Just apply it, because every page is applicable. Come back down. to the bottom. If you can see it, can you see it? You can. When we pull this up and down, there we go. Click apply change, and that changes. That applies the change here. You can actually edit this one letter at a time, and it gets quite interesting because you've got the remote setup. So you can actually set this up with a G1RBO port and open the port on your home router, and you can connect to it from anywhere, and you can use view and connect to anybody's. Quite interesting. And then of course there is all sorts of interesting bits of information and how it all works and things. It's kind of same information in a different kind of form. It's a bit weird why he's done that, but it's kind of, it's all there. There's lots of interesting bits. Time server, you can set your own time server on it. So it's kind of, you know, interesting. That's known as the dashboard. You can click admin, and that's the admin dashboard. If you notice, I've got a yellow. That there is Brandmaster. That there's Phoenix, that's Brandmaster. And down here is TGI. It's really interesting how it all works, but that's telling me that it's saying for the Brandmaster connection, but I know it's not. I think it's to do with the slow connection, but it still works fine. And you'll notice the time slots down here. 1 and 2. So you can have different times. You generally, by default, whatever you set up on the code plug, it's going to default to, on these little things, it's always going to default to time slot 2. It's just how the network's forcing you on to 2. But then I could set up talk groups and actually use time slot 1. Kind of interesting. That's it's telling me that these little green boxes are telling me what's active. The remote, the watchdog, DMR gateways, and the host, which is the modem, and what temperature it runs at. It's quite interesting. And this is the one trick that I'm not long got to hang of using, and that's where's it gone? Where's the shutdown gone? There's a shutdown there. Should be a reboot. Oh my God, blimey, see? Even an expert makes cookups. No, it's just got shut down. Reboot's disappeared. Okay.
On the handset, how do you change the talk groups?
All I'm doing is...
All I was on with 91.
So,
But I couldn't link into another.
talk groups, channels. Think talk groups are a channel. So I just turn the knob. And I just change talk groups.
But don't you have to unlink the first one?
Right. Yes. Okay, so you're brave and you've just gone on to HubNet. Now that's an interesting one, and yeah, it's the same sort of HubNet as everybody knows about. I mean, there's loads of people on there all the time, they're talking all the time about all sorts of things, and God, it's like, yeah, you're brave going on there. Now, DMR is, because it's digital, it's not the same as RF. So I've now connected, I've chosen HubNet, which is not on here because I don't put it on, and I've pressed my PTT and I've called out on HubNet. And I'll let go of my PTT. By pressing your PTT on a particular server, Brandmeister, Phoenix, TGIF, you've kind of locked in to that talk group. You're now logged on. So think of it, because your IT, it's digital, so this is computerised now, so you're now logged in to that server. And then you turn your knob on your radio to go to a different talk group, and you can't, because you're still logged in to HubNet. And it's like, and you can't get out. You can't get out. Because as long as somebody's talking, you keep getting linked into it. You can't get out. So what someone, Brightspark, decided to do was to create a talk group that allows you to log out. And it's Talk Group 4000. And every single radio that I've set up has Talk Group 4000 written on it. And Talk Group 4000, although, there you go, it's 4000. Although it logs you out, you have to wait till someone's not talking. Now, it sounds easy, doesn't it? Until you listen to HubNet, it's mental. They never give up. And literally, you've got to stand there, sometimes half hour, to get up when they're not talking, to keep pressing to do, yeah. That's why I say, if you go on HubNet, you're brave. I don't use it because I don't need to use it. I don't, you know, but people, you know, love it and go on it and they're on it all the time and that's it. So there's a Talk Group 4000 to disconnect you from the talk group that you're connected to. In this, what am I thinking about? So it's kind of, no, it's not there what I'm looking for. So basically, talk group, set up Talk Group 4000, look it up, it's in there, or just ask me about it and I'll send you enough on it, how to set it up. It's a disconnect talk group that disconnects you from everything that you've just connected to. I mean, you know, if you're brave enough to use it, HubNet, I'm not. I've used it a couple of times. It's truth. Oh yeah, there is something I work with. Yes, there is. Now I remember what I was doing. So this is what I wanted to show you. Here we are. This little box here. Now, people will talk to you about this little box here. Options. I can put in there a number, 840 say for instance. That's for setting static talk groups. So it's always on. So if I put TGIF in there, my network in there, it'll always be on. So when anybody shouts out, it's always on. But actually, the way that TGIF works, it's always on anyway. But if you put, and I started life with putting strings in here, talk group 840, 91, worldwide talk chat. My radio just kept going off all the time and I couldn't get up it. I couldn't get out of it. And it was a nightmare. So the way I have mine now is I have a clamp and I control it myself by turning the knob, connecting to it, disconnecting. You'll find it's the most sane way of doing it. You know, clever people say, oh no, I'll do this and this. Yeah, okay, it's fine. Do what you like. You know, you'll soon get cheesed off on it because your radio won't stop. That's the trouble. Your radio never stops, and it's nothing to do with you. It's just like people talking, and your radio's stuck now. So your mates can't get you. That's the other thing. Your mates. So I find leaving this bare, and when you look at when you look at the websites for it, and you want to start looking it up, it's kind of interesting. Right, let me have a look. Last thing. Home of PyStar. This is PyStar's website. And on here, you've got PyStar tools, various tools to do. You've got this nice little gadget here. You put your Wi-Fi SSID name in there, you put your password in there, you click submit, and it downloads a little file that you put in the root of the software for the SD card that you've got here, and you put the SD card back into the hotspot, turn it on, and then I connect it to that network. Then it's connected to the network, and then you go, oh right, it's connected to the network. I can, oh look, there you go. Look, I can configure from here, can't I? I can put all sorts of things. We have two different networks. And I can put my home network in and my mobile phone network. Yeah, you think, wouldn't you? By default, I found that it always prefers your home network to your mobile phone network. It won't, you can't take it off your home even if you have it configured. It won't take it off your home and put it onto your mobile phone unless you turn your home on. It's a little bit clunky because it's not a lot to it really. It's a bit clunky, so struggle with that. The only good thing for it is that once you've downloaded your build from here, DMR. Let me see, tools. Wi-Fi builder. These are talk group lists. This is we're called DMR Plus, and you'll notice the name there. It's called DMR Plus, but we kind of call it Phoenix. And these are all different talk groups for all different reasons. And this is just one of them. So it's sometimes it's quite a list. And it's quite interesting to, the languages and things. That's talk group, that's that one. And then you've got then you go downloads, and here is the versions of software. You notice they're zipped up, and you copy them as a zip and download them as a zip. You don't unzip them, and it tells you here how to go about getting a nice list of and how to do things. It's a little bit interesting how it gets on. It's not impossible. Of course, nothing's impossible. TGIF. This is the TGIF talk group list here. So this site here is quite a good site, and then I'll get this one here. Then you get DMR ID checker. This is the DMR ID checker. Woohoo! If you're lucky, that comes up. Quite a useful site. You'll need to know this one because this is where you're going to get your software from for your hotspots. What would I recommend? I mean, to be honest, the little ones are fine. So they're just a little bit on the clunky side. Just use an older version, and you'll be fine. My strong recommendations is to have 2 SIM cards. Once you've got it set up on your hotspot, you've got an option here for backup. So you can back a file up to your. Click once. Look, nothing's happening. There you go. And now that is the configuration of that hotspot on my computer. You notice there's nothing telling me that I've just done that. I just clicked once, let go, and wait. With DMR, I can't stress enough. When you're setting up, just do that. Click once, wait, because it's not fast. Very quick. If you get a Raspberry Pi 5 with a huge load of RAM on it, then you might be talking a little bit different. But that's kind of how it is. Right, here ends the lesson, I think. Any questions at all?
Yeah, got one for you. I've got to admit to being
bias.
Yeah, Andy, yeah.
But then I am the repeater kit with GB7SV, which is a C4FM repeater. Have you ever tried cross mode
Yeah,
with Pi-Star?
yeah.
How did you get on?
The audio, it always comes down to the audio. It's always the audio.
That's exactly
When
right.
you start crossing up, we in the early days we tried it. Was it Gavin was on Gavin M0Y? He had a Yaesu Fusion radio, so he set his up, and we tried to do the gateway into the audio, and also the displayed name's not the same, of course.
No.
So you get a mismatch. So although if you don't use it with your eyes and you use it audio, it's just the audio quality is dodgy.
It's getting better. Well, there are different gateways out there now that will handle it,
as
so
the
they're not
software
Pi-Star
improves,
based.
it's down to software, isn't it? I mean, the computer power and the internet's fast enough. It's just the software. Once it gets improved and someone does a little tweak, it will get better. But the cross talks are always a little bit on the
because they're different vocoders. Translating between two different vocoders is a nightmare.
Yeah. So it's
The other thing I was going to say is that I just thought it might interest you that we are actually working at the moment on a 4-metre FM gateway into a C4FM repeater.
Oh, okay.
Which is an interesting problem, but we found a way around it. So
good. Yeah. You work hard enough, you'll always find an answer, won't you? You always find an answer if you work hard enough and you find someone clever enough.
We found a way around it.
But it's I got into this through joining Essex Raynet. I'm not a member of Essex Raynet anymore, but I struggled, and I'm the IT guy. And I struggled and I struggled and I struggled. Finally, someone helped me. We got it all set up. I made a backup file. And I can't stress enough. Yes, you've got a backup file, but I can't stress enough to have a few spare little SD cards. Because this takes a little tiny SD card in the back. I think this one's 4 gig. The bigger the better. But to have another SD card set up identical as a spare is a nice little godsend.
But if you pull the plug out on it, it'll probably struggle.
Even the backup's clunky. Because how do you put the backup off it if your hotspot's just gone down? You can't. So you have to then, if the SD card's gone, then you've got to put a new SD card into your computer. You need to go onto Pi-Star. You need to download that again. You need to uncompact it onto the SD card. You need to put the SD card into the hotspot. You need to boot the hotspot up. When you boot it up like that, it creates its own Wi-Fi connection that then if you look in your network settings, it comes up as Pi-Star. You connect to it. Then you get into the browser. Then you go to the browser, you got to log into it. You've got to default log into it, Pi-Star, Raspberry Pi. Then you've got to download your backup. Then you've got to reboot it and hope to God it all works. But having a spare SD card, it's just so nice because you can do with that other bit when you're not so stressed out. So that's my recommendation. Anyway, time. Thank you. And I did ask somebody to be around so I could talk to them. But as always, G1RBO. Anyone listening? G1RBO called in. Anyone on TFG? Yeah. No.